Hello and welcome back to the Lincoln Loco 2. Hope you're all doing well. Today we've got two league games for you, Bradford and Hull in League One. Now before we get into today's episode, just want to say that I'm recording in a different location today. So I think it might sound a bit echoey on the audio, just because it's quite a big room with a lot of it's a kitchen. So there's wooden floors, wooden cabinets, marble top sort of thing. So it's a lot of hard furnishings, quite echoey. I can hear it when I talk right now, so I'll try and do my best to get rid of it in the editing, but no promises. Either way, welcome back. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you all had a good weekend. Today, really big games against Bradford and Hull. Bradford and Lincoln City have a lot of history between them on the grounds that the Valley Parade fire was an awful tragedy. If you've not heard of it before, Google it. It was the stadium set fire, basically, Bradford Stadium, and 56 people died. 54 from Bradford, 2 from Lincoln City. So there's a big connection between the two clubs there. And obviously not Lincoln City, we're Lincoln United, but between the two cities as well, two towns, there's a lot of connection. And Hull, of course, not too far away from Lincoln at all, only an hour or so away. So we want to get a one-up on our local rivals in this division. So a very, very big episode today. Since you were last here for the draw against Colchester and the loss to Hereford in the FA Cup, let's never speak of that again. Things haven't really been that good for us. Straight away after that, a 0-0 draw with Wigan, which was okay, I suppose. Wigan are a decent side. And then we beat Shrewsbury after that, and that was a good result, to be fair. James Thornton getting the goals there. Thornton, of course, by left-back, not usually getting goals. That might have been actually his first goal of the season. No, he's got 2 goals this season, but, he's not usually getting goals. So he was very happy with that, and it was fantastic for him to get the winner against Shrewsbury. The next 3 games were all losses, though. Coventry, a 2-1 loss there. Thornton scores a second goal of the season for us there. That was where he scored his second goal, but they scored 2 later on in the game to make sure they took the 3 points. Away to Portsmouth, a 2-0 loss there. Wasn't the best result, to be fair. Wasn't the best performance. We didn't play particularly well at all. So I think Portsmouth had that 3 points wrapped up from the moment they scored their first goal, really. And then after that, a 1-0 loss to Bolton. Unlucky, really, to concede the penalty. They scored it. After that, really, it was anyone's game, I've got to say. But they just held on defensively. We couldn't really do much attacking-wise, so a penalty settled that one. So 3 losses in a row wasn't particularly good, but we did bounce back against Leyton Orient. Turek and Hawkins with the goals in that game. And then last time out, a 1-1 draw with Oxford, with Asuko scoring in the 94th minute to rescue a point there. We didn't look like we were going to get anything out of that game. Oxford outplayed us all game. They were unlucky not to score more goals, really, but Asuko gets it right at the end. And we've had failings like that before. We've conceded goals very late on, so it was nice to be on the other end of it and actually pick up a point in that situation. So 2 wins, 2 draws, 3 losses in between episodes. Not the greatest after that good run of form that we had through from September through to to October, end of November actually. That form was brilliant. We're now sort of starting to see probably more realistic form for what we should have this season. As a result of it, we have dropped down to 11th in the table. We were just outside the playoffs last episode, but we have dropped down to 7 points behind the playoffs now. So difficult games today. Hull are right up there in 4th. They're looking for automatic promotion. They've also won their last 5 games in a row, so it's going to be very difficult against them, I think. But Bradford, equally, they may be in 22nd, but they're going to be really fighting at the moment because we're way into the second half of the season now. They're going to really want to pick up some points now to try and escape that relegation zone so they don't be in a battle come the end of the season. So both games, I think, are going to be very tricky today. Now, last time you were here, we spoke about needing to sign 1 or 2 more players. We wanted a winger on both sides that was going to really improve the squad. Did we sign any? No, that's the answer. We didn't sign anyone. No one left. No one joined, unfortunately. We did look. There were 2 players that I thought were going to really significantly improve the side. Both wanted to join the club. However, one was asking for about £5,000 per week, which we just weren't going to give him that kind of money. No one at this club is going to be anywhere near that kind of money yet. And then the other player was just too expensive for us. It was going to be nearly £500,000 if we wanted to bring him in with add-ons and things like that. And I just thought that's not worth it. So we didn't sign anyone in the end, which is a bit unfortunate. Perhaps that's sort of leading to the bit of decline in results, but I just wasn't going to do it if the finances weren't right and the player that we're going to bring in wasn't going to significantly boost the squad. So it's a bit disappointing, but I wasn't going to ruin the club financially, and I wasn't going to bring in someone who's only slightly better than what we've already got, because there's no point doing that, really, I don't think. What that means is the side is pretty similar then to what you've been used to. McClement still in goal, of course, with that back line of Thornton, Farrell, Hunter and Asuko. Belcher comes into that CDM today because Woodthorpe, is down injured. He's been out for a little while, should be back in 5 days' time, so probably won't play the whole game either, but after that, we'll be back into the squad. Heems and Hawkins still staying in the centre of the midfield. They're playing very, very well. Whitfield on the right-hand side, not CDM, of course, on the right-hand side, Whitfield with Turiak playing on the left, and Mark Mason up front with his 9 goals so far this season in all competitions, only 7 in the league. It's a little bit disappointing. I think he kind of has plateaued now. League One, probably the best of his ability. I think next season we may have to bring in a better striker maybe, but yeah, you never know with these things. Maybe with better players around him on the wings and things like that, he might start bagging 20 goals again sort of thing. So we'll have to see what happens. Right then, kickoff is upon us here today. Bradford down in 20 seconds. So really, we need to be picking up the win today. Not picking up a win is unforgivable in the circumstances. But of course, they are going to be fighting for survival. So it's going to be a tough game. So the season is starting to come to its close now. Everyone's played 31 games or so. There's only 15 left in the season. As I said last episode, and because we've dropped down a bit as well since last episode, we're not good enough for the playoffs. We're nowhere near it at the moment. I don't think we're going to be getting that this season. We shouldn't deserve to get that this season. The squad's not good enough, I don't think. On the other hand, though, we have had improvement this season, of course. Last season was a relegation battle. This season, it's looking like mid-table for us, which I think is really, really good. I think next season, maybe we can make the push towards the playoffs, maybe. I think we might be in a position to do that if we bring in the right sort of players. But again, finding the right players for us, because we've got such a low reputation sort of thing, it's very, very difficult. League One has probably been the most difficult league that we've been in so far, which is understandable. Obviously, it's the highest it's ever been. But before that, the most difficult league was the second season, or third season we had. It was after our first promotion. That season was really, really difficult. We nearly got relegated straight away from that division back to our starting division. Bradford have gone 1-0 up. Christian Doig with his 15th goal of the season, rather. That was a very nicely worked goal from Bradford. And as I said, it's their first shot of the game, which is really annoying as well. They're going to be motivated to win today. They're going to really be motivated to win, to try and pick up the points to get out that relegation zone. So despite being the better side in the first half, we do go into half-time 1-0 down, which is pretty poor, I've got to say. We expect better than this. We'll go aggressive, show me something else in the second half. Going back to what I was talking about before, though, looking for playoffs next season, it all depends on if we can sign the right players. I mean, we've had a really good season this season so far, turning things around and getting much higher up the table. If we can do that again next season, I back us to get playoff sort of thing. To be fair, Bradford came very close there. I was about to say they've gone 2-0 up. I'm making a lot more effort this season to try and scout lots and lots and lots of players. I think I've been not quite as proactive the past 2 seasons maybe in our scouting, and really we need to try and do something a bit better this season, this summer, to try and get some better faces in. I want to really try and bring in a few good youth players as well with a lot of potential. Maybe get them out on loan somewhere, or even just play a few youth players sort of thing. Try and get them into the first team, and maybe with championship or premiership quality if we can even sign those players. But we haven't really got the money to sign it, as Bradford go 2-0 up against us now. Not looking good. Again though, we are the better side, but Bradford, with their 2 shots on target, have scored 2 goals, which is worrying. So we need to do something about this. Who's on that 5.8? Thornton on the 5.8 is atrocious. Belcher's going to come off the pitch though. We're going to bring on Tyler Monk. We're going to bring him on there in that attacking midfield position. We're going to go up to attacking as well. And I'm tempted to bring Dylan Monk on for Mason, who's not played very well at all. In fact, I'm not tempted. I'm going to bring him on instead. They're the 2 changes that we'll make for now. But it's not really looking that great out there, I've got to say. Before this game, of course, they were 9 points away from safety, now 6 points away. So this is going to be a vital win for them if they can see it out. But for us, if we don't want to drop into that bottom half of the table, we need to pick up some points today. And if we're not going to do it against Bradford, we need to do it against Hull. And that's going to be really difficult. One final change is we're going to bring on McGinley for Thornton, who's still on that 5.8 rating. He's clearly been at fault for the 2 goals. And Bradford have really come back into this game now in the second half. They've really taken it. They're now back on level terms with shots for us. So Bradford had a pretty decent half-time team talk. Fortunately, though, I don't think we're going to pick up any points in this game as the clock does start to wind down. It's frustrating, very frustrating that this has happened. We deserve better than this, I think. I don't know, just maybe the formation, maybe the teams are just starting to find us out, because, of course, we didn't start the season off very well. But then when we changed formation to this 4-1-4-1 formation, it worked wonders, and for 2 months we were absolutely superb. But the past month and a half or so, in terms of fixtures, we've only won the 3 games. That's now only 2 games, so that's our 4th loss in that time. We've had 2 draws as well, so it's not really the best. So we stay in 11th, obviously, but we have got 0 goal difference now, so that's not particularly good. But 45 points with 30 games gone. Of course, we've got a game in hand on some teams still. The game in hand is a game against MK Dons that's going to come up soon in between episodes. At this stage, I think we've already done enough to avoid relegation. You know, an extra 10 points or so, we should pick up in the next 15 games easily. That's going to be enough to save us from relegation. So we don't have to worry about that, but I would like to finish sort of 12th and above. And I think that's still, well, it is still possible, obviously, but we just need to switch on a bit more and take charge of games a little bit better than we did against Bradford at least. 12 days off for the Hull game. So obviously nothing. I'm not quite sure why we're not playing next weekend then, but we'll take the 12-day rest definitely. That's going to really help us out, I think. Hull might still be in the FA Cup actually. That might be why we've not got a game on Saturday. Hull could be playing, or whoever meant to be playing on Saturday has got an FA Cup game, so that game just gets cancelled or postponed for the later date maybe. That might be what it is. Tranmere making an offer for Dylan Monk, which actually for £47,000 is quite tempting, I've got to say. But we've only got two strikers, or two recognised strikers, Mason and Monk. We've got Rickwood actually as well, but Rickwood's not really getting that many goals. I always get really confused between Rickwood, Woodthorpe and Whitfield. I don't know why, because they're all different positions, but I suppose, and their names aren't really that similar either, but I always get confused between the three of them. I don't think it's the right time to sell Monk, if I'm honest with you, although his contract is up at the end of the season. And we will let him go for free at the end of the season, I think, because he's just not quite cutting it for us, I don't think. Not really been overly pleased with how he's played. Mason is still very good. Okay, right, what we're going to do here is give us 100k for him. Suggest that. They said 44, rising to 61 with 30%. Now, we want more than that. Let's go for 80k. Oh, they've actually accepted that offer. £80,000 up front with 6.5k in 3 instalments. After 50 games, another 10k, and then 30% profit from next sale. You know what? To get £100,000, well, potentially £100,000, £80,000 up front is very good. For a player of his quality, who we are going to let go at the end of the season, you know what? I'm going to do it. Accept the offer. Every player has their price, and that was a pretty good price. It was more than double what he's worth. So, you know what? Take him, Tranmere. Cannot wait for him to get sold, and then a day later Mark Mason's out for the rest of the season. You can almost predict that's going to happen, can't you? So Dylan Monk is on his way. See you later, lad. He's gone. We're now £80,000 richer. That's a very, very good deal, I've got to say. I know some of you in the comment section are going to be going, Tom, why are you such an idiot? But to make money, we have to be selling players, because we're not sustainable enough on our own yet with ticket sales and things like that. We don't get a lot of sponsorship at all. As you can see, we are spending a lot more than last season. Last season we spent in total nearly £600,000 on wages. Already at this stage we spent £650,000 on wages. So we're spending more on wages, more on staff costs it will be, because we're nearly eclipsing our staff costs from last season. We've already paid more in tax and things like that. Bonuses, that's a big one. We're paying out so much more in bonuses this season, which is an issue. Non-football costs have gone up. Is that staff on match day? Yeah, non-football staff, so like the stewards and things like that around the ground, stuff like that. Match day expenses gone up massively as well. We're nearly double what we were last season total. This big triangle here, that's 4.4 million nearly. That's for the new stadium when that came out. And then this here is a training ground and things like that. But as you can see, it's risen a lot this past season, really risen a lot compared to last season and the season before. Like, in terms of, we get a steady increase every single season, as you can see. You can't really see it very well because it's very small, but steady increase in our expenditure. But this season, it's really rocketed up. Income levels, though, have stayed pretty similar to last season, though. So you can see it's going to be a bit of a struggle. So each season, Coventry is spending £11 million on salaries, which is massive, actually, compared to Middlesbrough, who are next with £6 million. That's an awful lot. If we scroll down, though, where are we? We're under £1 million per season on wages. And that's actually double from last season, or nearly double from last season. So last season we spent about 600k. Yeah, it said 600k, didn't it? This season we're going to spend nearly 400k more than that. So although it's tiny for this division, that's a massive increase for us. So it's very, very difficult and not quite sustainable yet. So we need to be a bit careful still. Anyway, after all of that, I hope I've justified why I sold Dylan Monk. I hope that's acceptable to you. Right then, Hull game now. We're playing this weekend. I'm not quite sure why we didn't play last weekend, but Hull Very, very difficult challenge for us. We are, though, going to stick with the same formation. It could be difficult, it could be stupid, that I don't know, but it's what we're going to do. Thorpe's still apparently injured. I thought he came back from injury, but he's still apparently slightly injured. We'll put him on the bench anyway, because we might use him. To be fair, I don't really see how the team gets any better. I mean, the actual lineup, I don't think it gets any better. Of course, we can play better than we did last game against Bradford, but I can't really see how I improve this by swapping players around other than bringing Woodthorpe back on, but he's not fit again. So I think we just go for this 11 again and see what happens. Arguably, we actually should be going for a more defensive formation, but attack is the best form of defence, and we'll try and do that today. Right then, kickoff is upon us in a nice white kit, playing at the K-Comp Stadium in Hull. Quite a big one, I think, to be fair. So probably the biggest stadium in the league, actually. I don't know if Middlesbrough Stadium might be bigger. No, MK Dons got the biggest, haven't they? Theirs is like 30,000 or so, which is ridiculous. Highlight, though, looks like it is for Hull, though, although Hawkins makes a nice interception then. Farrell clears the ball up towards Mason, who's onside, beats his defender. First shot saved, second shot back of the net, his 10th goal of the season, and Lincoln United go 1-0 up against Hull. What a player Mark Mason is. The composure to, once he's not scored that first shot, but to keep the ball, keep the composure, take it past the goalkeeper and put it in the back of the net. That was magnificent. As another highlight now, is looking like it's going to be coming for Hull as they build from the defence. Their ball forward, their number 9 is very, very good. Our defenders can't get in the way. McClement really, really should have saved that. And Hull pretty instantly back on level terms again. The rest of this first half, though, is looking pretty cagey. No one having shots. We have much more possession, 61% possession, but we're not really making much use of it in terms of our attacking play. And as we approach half-time, it's 1-1. And to be fair, I would happily take a draw against Hull because they're a very, very decent side looking for promotion this season. So a draw against them away from home, that's stealing points from them, I think. Highlight here for Hull as the corner comes in and it's bounces around the area and Hull put it in the back of a net. I think that was quite a lucky one, to be fair. Hawkins apparently missed the header, was made to pay for that. So we may see his rating has dropped down to 6.2. He was on a 6.6 before that, now on a 6.2. We've got a chance from this corner though. Whitfield puts it in, cleared, and actually Hull are now coming on the counter-attack. Number 7 coming forward for them. Then number 14 is way open. He gets on the end of the ball. Time to put his cross in, headed just over the bar. Got to say, Hull are much better than us. They are really taking the game to us. They've really improved in this later stage of the second half. And it's one of these issues where I just don't think we quite have the quality on the bench to really change anything. Tyler Monk's going to come on, not for Turiak actually, he'll come on for Belcher again. We'll put him in that attacking midfielder position. That's really the only change I feel like I can make, to be fair, that's going to have any kind of impact. The rest of the players on the bench are either defensively minded or just not better than the players who've already got on the pitch. So it is difficult. I think we are starting to run into a few issues with a lack of quality in our depth at the end of the season. But we've made the improvement. Although we've lost both games in today's episode, we've made the improvement from last season. I think over summer we will be able to, when more players are available after leaving and more players on the transfer list, I think we will be available then to get some better players in that can push us towards the playoffs next season. We're not going to get that this season. We're never going to get it this season. And especially after losing these 2 games today, we're nowhere near it. Unfortunate to lose it, I've got to say. I think we were quite unlucky to come. There were 2 really stupid goals for Hull, to be fair, to score. One from distance, which should have been saved, and one after a defender missed a header and it bounces around the area, goes in the back of a net. Unlucky, to be fair. I think another day we would have won that game. So we stay in 12th. Luckily, other teams around us didn't do well, and we do have those 2 games in hand still at later stages of the season, which is going to be an advantage for us to push us back into that top half. I think we will get top half this season, but we're not going to be anywhere near playoffs. Before we talk about where we're going to go next episode, tomorrow there's going to be no Lincoln Loco. Tomorrow we'll have a different video for you, an experiment video. We've not done one for a while, so look forward to that tomorrow. That's going to be a bit different, and just because there's only going to be 2 more episodes this season, rather than finishing on Thursday sort of thing. We'll finish the season on Friday and we'll have an experiment tomorrow sort of thing. So that'll be all right. On Thursday then, what you can expect is Rochdale and Rotherham, and then on Friday, you can expect MK Dons and Wigan. If we do somehow manage to get playoffs or go to relegation battle, I don't think either is likely, but if that does happen, we'll do an episode on the weekend on Saturday, something like that. But tomorrow, experiments. Thursday, Friday, Lincoln Loco. So next episode, Rochdale, Rotherham. After that, MK Dons and Wigan. Thank you very much for watching today's episode. If you've enjoyed it despite the 2 losses, please do drop a like on the video for me and tell me in the comment section, was I right or wrong to sell Dylan Monk? Make sure you click subscribe if you're new around here, and I'll see you next time for some more Lincoln Loco action.